Hey guys, welcome back to the Crazy Cozy Corner. It's crazy. Well, it's a toss-up between me and the books. It's cozy because there's a comfy chair, and it's a corner because we're in a corner. I'm Brianna, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. We're going to talk about my September reading. This was a difficult month for me, or harder. I kind of was in a slight slump, and I think that was my fault because I tried to make myself read books a lot because I did a 24-hour challenge. I don't know if that's coming up before or after this. We'll see. But yeah, I kind of just slowed down after the challenge because it's been a very crazy month anyways, because my sister gave birth, and so that's more of a priority to be there for her than to read. But we only read 8 books this month, and that's okay because that's still more than none. I still got to enjoy most of it. So first up, I brought in the first of the month with reading Origin, which is the 4th book in the Lux series. This is, okay, trying to refresh. Spoilers throughout the video, always, just in case you don't know or haven't read and you don't want the spoilers. You can always go to another video, although I'm pretty bad about spoilers. Origin is following Kat and Damon. Kat was, at the end of the 3rd book, stuck in, I still don't know how to say the name, so the evil corporation thing, evil government corporation thing that is assimilating Luxon but also experimenting on them and trying to make a superhuman force to protect the world. Kat is stuck there, and she wakes up and she's basically tortured until she understands that she's not getting out, so she needs to cooperate, and so she starts going along with everything. And Damon was locked up by his own community to keep him safe, but literally, it's switched. So Dawson, his brother, they were keeping him under wraps and everything so that he didn't go after his basically soulmate, and they're doing the same thing to Damon. So it's kind of hypocritical for Dawson because he was helping with that. He's like, oh, I have my soulmate, so you need to wait. I know what it's like. And so Damon's like, no. Or Demon? I think it's Demon. Sorry if I say Damon. Demon, he gets out and he goes after Kat. So he gets captured, and then they're both stuck there together. And it's just them trying to find a way out. And Luke shows up in this, and I stand by it. If I had not read the Brightest Night, what is the series called? Origins. If I hadn't read the Origins series first, I would not like Luke. I stand by that. I'm sorry. When you get to see it through the main character's pink glasses, the main characters look the male main characters look a lot more attractive, but once you see them from a different perspective, I'll come back to Origins, obviously, but it's kind of like how people see Rhysand and Akatar. They loved him the first 3.5 books, but the last book with Nesta's point of view, they're like, he's so horrible. It's like, well, he might have just been this way, but you'd been reading from Feyre's point of view, and so he looked a lot better because it was her rose-tinted glasses that we were seeing him from. We're seeing some other lens in the 4th book, which you gotta mix the two because no one's perspective is completely the truth, So I digress. It's just perspective, or perception. There we go, both of those. But anyways, yeah, I rated it 3 stars. I have the physical copy, and it was a different cover. So every single cover I have, except Opposition, is a different kind. So for Obsidian, I have the new like sprayed edges cute one. Then Onyx, it's like this purpley, it's a cute silhouette type cover. Opal, it's in my last wrap up, but it's a person, and I don't really enjoy people staring at me, especially like real people. I can handle the Throne of Glass covers because she's gray, so I'm like, not real. But this is like a real dude staring at me. I'm like, I'm uncomfy. But Origin is another cover that was weird, and with a real person. But it was different than, like, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't match. They don't match, and it bothers me. But I'm not about to go buy more right now. I just can't do it. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Rated it 3 stars. It was okay. Once you get so far into a series, like, that's something with fantasy that they really I've seen an issue with, is like you keep dragging things on when things could be going a lot quicker, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense as to why it's taking so long. Like, why are we 4 books into this and we haven't reached the conclusion? There's no reason. But I digress. I haven't read Opposition, so maybe my view will change. But the next book I read / listened to was The Four Winds by Kristin Hannah. I got this on Libby and I listened to it, and Kristin Hannah always makes me cry. Like, everything she writes makes me cry. I rated it 4 stars. It was not my favorite of hers. If I had to put it in the ones I have read, it would be Nightingale, The Women, then The Four Winds. It took me a while to get into it because I'm kind of judgmental with book characters, and so I did not like, I don't remember her name either. Oh well. The main character, she had so much potential, and I guess this is what real people do. So it's like you see so much potential, and they look like they're about to act on it and be strong, or like your definition of strong, but then they do the opposite. Like they just choose to. I didn't agree with her choices, but that made her more complex, like someone to understand, or someone I misunderstood and didn't understand until the end of the book, where like she starts coming into her potential. I'm like, I judged her so hard, but all she really wanted to do, to be, was loved and have love for her children and stuff like that. But it was different reading about a natural disaster, hard time in America, rather than the wars and stuff that I had previously read from her. And so it was just like a different setting and style, so it took me a while to adjust. But really, like reading these books makes me so disappointed in like America, like the women, like people who are just doing what the government told them to do, and they come home and you spit on them. They didn't have a choice. Like, yes, they had a choice whether to sign up or not, but they were being fed propaganda, and instead of having compassion and everything for what they had to go through because of the propaganda. And then thankfully, like, we didn't see much of Americans in The Nightingale, except towards the end, when they were doing the escapee route and stuff. But this was just all America, and it was really sad because that's what Americans do. And I can't say for most people, because I'm just talking about from experience, but it's like what we do with people that are different or out of town, or like we always blame them we can't turn and look at ourselves and see, what are we doing? What do we need to do to make this better? And it was very thought-provoking, in my opinion. But I digress. I rated that 4 stars, and yeah. Next, I read The Midnight Library. And that was a wild ride. That was my first book that I read for my 24-hour challenge. And I rated that 4 stars. And it was, at first I was like, am I gonna like this? But as I like read through it and saw the ebbs and flows of this person who didn't want to live anymore and start to maybe have hope or just have a perspective change and everything, it didn't make me cry, but it made me feel a lot of emotion, because I feel that most people go through at least a moment or a season in life where it's like, why am I even here? What good do I do? And it's a really thought-provoking book. Like, every action we take has a consequence, good or bad. And like, if we didn't exist, or if we existed in a different capacity, would it be the right way? Like, we don't know what life would be if we had chosen differently. So we kind of need to make the most of what we have chosen. And I would 100% recommend The Midnight Library. That is by Matt Haig, Haig, Haig. But yeah. Next, I read One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Gillig? I rated that 3 stars. It was okay. It was good. It just wasn't very life-changing, I guess. I would recommend it for anyone that likes fantasy. It had decent world building, but it was okay. That's all I got to say about it. And then I read Midnight Sun. Now, I won't go into all the rants that I have for the next few books that are, because that's in my Twilight video. But Midnight Sun makes Edward look worse than he did in the entire series. Like, I can't with him. But I did rate it 3 stars because I was able to finish it this time, and it was actually very entertaining. It kept my attention this time, and it gave, not pointers, but it made you think more than, like, I'm trying to think of what I'm trying to say. You were able to see more of the Cullens' life, and I liked to experience that, see more of Alice and Jasper and Rosalie and Emmett and Esme and Carlisle, and like see how they handled dealing with Bella, and you even got to see Tanya a little bit when she was hitting on Edward. But yeah, that was 3 stars. It's by Stephenie Meyer. The rest of the books I read are by Stephenie Meyer. Next was New Moon, and I rated that a 3 star. Actually, I think most of the books got 3 stars this time around. New Moon. Edward leaves Bella. Bella falls into a ridiculous depression. And I say ridiculous because, like, I've never felt something so deep like that. So it's ridiculous to me. For people who've actually gone through losing, like, or having the love of their life leave them, I don't have that. So to me, it's ridiculous, but to others, it might not be. So, like, I'm not trying to invalidate anything. But I have, I think the depression has a lot to do with them being, like, soulmates, you know? And so, like, they were 2 halves of a whole, even though people are whole on their own, but we won't get into that. Like, they're 2 halves of a whole, and so splitting them apart, they, like, there was no pretty way to break them apart, so, like, parts of them clung to each other, and they lost parts of themselves when they, whatever. And, you know, Jacob, like, he was such a good character. he was such a good character until like he gets all angry at her and the situation and stuff like that. And like, whatever. But I rated that 3 stars by Miss Stephenie Meyer. And then I read Eclipse. A lot of nothing happens. 3/4 of the book, it's just, you know, them trying to figure out what's going on. Oh, they're graduating. That's cool. Bella's graduating for the first time, and only time as a human, and let's see, she's still in danger, doesn't realize it, or realizes it, but like pushes it down because her Edward's back. And 3/4 of the book, it's just nothing until the last quarter where they finally get engaged and go to fight the newborn army that's been building the entire book, and Victoria goes after them and blah. That's basically the book. There's more of my thoughts on it because I think I was a little heated, but you can see that in the Twilight video. And then finally, I read Breaking Dawn, and actually, oh, okay, I was like kind of confused. I finished it October 2nd, but it's gonna be in September, so I don't have to think about it again. But Breaking Dawn, I gave 2 stars, and that's how I feel about it. No, that's all I have to say. And that was I think it was just 8 books that I read this month, and I am ready to move on. I didn't finish the Mind-Gut Connection. I haven't actually picked that book up since the last reading wrap-up. I did start 5 Broken Blades earlier this month, but I started before my 24-hour reading, and I just haven't picked it up since. I'm only like 5 chapters in. It wasn't really catching my attention, but it's really hard when there's multiple POVs and trying to remember the names, and when it's not names that I can easily remember, like, hear me out, it doesn't matter if I can remember them, but trying to dive into a story, like, it's hard to keep track of who's who when names are kind of similar, or something that, like, that's not something that I hear on a day-to-day. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just means I'm just having a little bit of a hard time. But it's an interesting concept, so I'm definitely going to pick it back up. It's just I need to be in the mood for it. And then I want to read The Dream Thief. That's actually one of the books I have pulled to my side right now, is to start reading that, because 1, it's a library book, and I need it to be read so I can give it back. But then I have 5 other library books that I need to read. And I know I can give them back, but it's like, I don't want to give them back. But I think my second like I can renew the checkout 3 times. So it's already been renewed once, so I have 2 more times. And I think maybe this Saturday will be my second renew, so I really need to get to going. But anyways, thank you so much for watching the Crazy Cozy Corner with me, Brianna. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the things. I always enjoy the time with you, so I'll see you in the next.